Alrighty folks, today's video is about how to slash $24,000 and 2 years from college at NCSSM. My name is Luke Setzer. I'm a professional engineer with a mechanical engineering degree. I graduated NCSSM in the class of 1984 and North Carolina State University in the class of 1988. So I am well qualified to talk about this today. First, a disclaimer. This is only to get you to start thinking about how to optimize your path as a high school student to a meaningful and productive career. You must do your own research. You must adapt it to fit your specific circumstances. You must check the latest facts. Be a good student. Do your own thinking. Thank you. Here's the agenda for the video. We'll talk about fundamentals, analysis, recommendations, and conclusions. First, the fundamentals: an executive summary, introduction, assumptions, core concepts, basic attitudes to adopt. Here's the executive summary and what motivated me to make this video. My YouTube video, Dual Enrollment versus NCSSM, raised the hackles of my peers. They cited 4 reasons to attend NCSSM: freedom, friendship, challenge, and escape from toxic home environments. This video seeks to help those who choose NCSSM over dual enrollment to get the best of both worlds. It also explores trends in education in North Carolina and asks some hard questions about the future of NCSSM and its students. Let's get started. Introduction. Ambitious students in North Carolina who seek to expand their horizons often seek to do so at NCSSM. For reasons that amount more to emotional than intellectual ones, they choose NCSSM over dual enrollment. For you, the student, to extract the most tangible benefit from NCSSM, you must necessarily have a firm idea from the outset about which college and curriculum you seek after graduating NCSSM. This video walks you through that process. Here are my assumptions. You, the student, take the future seriously. You value time, energy, and money as sacred. You view education as the means to a productive career and not as an end in itself. You seek to learn from the experiences of others, myself, rather than from trial and error. And you want to maximize long-range employment opportunities. Let's talk about some core concepts, starting with high school. Advanced placement, for those of you who don't know what that is, high school courses and examinations that earn college credit. Visit collegeboard.com for more. Autodidact. An autodidact is a self-taught person. Auto, self, didact, teacher. If you want to succeed at NCSSM and in college, you absolutely, positively must become an autodidact. Dual enrollment, or DE. Those are college courses offered in high school that let you earn credit both towards a high school diploma and a college degree. See your high school guidance counselor for more. And NCVPS, that's the North Carolina Virtual Public School, which offers high school courses, including AP courses, over the web. Visit ncvps.org to learn more. College core concepts. Articulation agreement, or AA. That is an agreement between schools about transferability of specific courses. Central Carolina Community College, or CCCC. That's one of several community colleges in North Carolina that offer associate's degrees totally online. College transfer is the process of earning university credit at a community college. Cooperative education, or co-op. That's a widely practiced method of experiential learning involving alternating semesters of school and work. Finally, General Education Development, or GED, is an equivalent to a high school diploma for possible early access to college. More concepts. NCCCS, that's the North Carolina Community College System, 58 community colleges across the state. NCSU, North Carolina State University, currently the only university in North Carolina with which NCSSM has an articulation agreement. UNC, University of North Carolina System, 16 universities across the state. Other core concepts are book smarts, which is what you learn in class, and street smarts, which is what you have to learn elsewhere via job and life experiences. You get the book smarts, I'll help you with the street smarts. Basic attitudes to adopt. Let's talk about your 4 basic human needs. You have 4 at the level of body, mind, emotions, and soul, which are the need for acting, the need for knowing, the need for bonding, and the need for meaning. Coming together, their common denominator reduced to the need for control. So let's talk about how you can gain control and satisfy your basic human needs at NCSSM. Stephen Covey's 8 Habits. Stephen Covey is a very widely respected author. He's got 2 bestsellers out, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People and The 8th Habit, which you can get in abridged audio format at audible.com. Runs only 2 hours and 25 minutes. These habits talk about the maturity continuum, which leads you from dependence to independence for the first 3 habits. Be proactive, begin with the end in mind, put first things first. And this is going to be the primary focus of this video. But you'll also learn about how to get from independence to interdependence through social skills like think win-win, seek first to understand and then to be understood, and synergize. And of course you want to commit to effectiveness through continuous improvement. Sharpen the saw, the metaphor being like a woodsman who keeps his sharpened saw so he can keep cutting wood effectively. And finally, the 8th habit, from effectiveness to greatness, find your voice and inspire others to find theirs. So I hope that I inspire you to find your voice in this video today. The meaning of productive work. Ultimately, after you get through with all your education, you've got to go to work. So how can you become productive now to be fully conditioned for productive work? Well, you really need to find something to set your soul on fire. This is one of my favorite passages about the subject. In the right career, productive work takes on the nature and meaning of the combination of holy sacrament, Indian torture, and sexual ecstasy, as described by Ayn Rand in her novel The Fountainhead. Put more simply, if you choose the right career, living productively will satisfy all 4 of your basic human needs elegantly. Favorite essay on this is How to Choose a Career by Alex Epstein. Go to alexepstein.com to read that. It becomes absolutely important to be proactive, the very first of the 8 habits, which emphasizes the importance of early planning. By the time you finish watching this video, hopefully you will understand how important it is to get planning done early. Favorite quote from a military commander: "Plans are nothing. Planning is everything." Which means that your plans will change as you progress and learn, but the very act of early comprehensive planning familiarizes you with system-level thinking. Playing this game to win all the points you want in accordance with your rationally chosen scorecard, namely your own future, is the right way to do this. If you like strategy games, you will love doing this. But even if you dislike strategy games, do this anyway. And I want to pause here to take a chill pill and warn you about excellence versus adequacy. Many schools tout themselves as excellent, but you must make the final call regarding their adequacy. Consider the overall quality of life and not just the alleged excellence of the school, and I include NCSSM in this. Voltaire once said, "The perfect is the enemy of the good." My variant on that is, the excellent is the enemy of the adequate. You want to work smarter and not harder, so you don't run the risk of burnout. Now we jump into the analysis, the heart and soul of this video. I'll talk about the history of NCSSM, academic life, residential life, holistic life, and the future of NCSSM. Many, many generations ago in early America, learning took place in an agricultural environment. Basically, the parents taught their children what they knew, basics of reading, writing, and arithmetic. And if the kids happened to be lucky enough to live in walking distance of a school, they could walk to the local schoolhouse and get some more formal education. That was the campus of the past. As America progressed into the industrial age, education became industrialized as well, basically shipping more and more kids off, first by choice and later by force, to schools to be educated industrially, as if they were blobs of wax to be molded in a factory. This did not always work. It had mixed results, and so by this time, the government, being fully in charge of education, came to ask itself, what can we do to improve education? Which brings us to the campus of the future, specifically how NCSSM came into being. The idea being to bring the brightest students to a campus to live around the clock with other bright students in a very intense academic environment. And thus was born NCSSM. Be that as it may, NCSSM was basically treated as a high school by most students without a lot of thought for how to use NCSSM to their fullest advantage to get ahead in college. I call this the black box of college trap. One of my fellow students at NCSSM had this to say about it on one of the NCSSM alumni discussion forums. I wish somebody had helped me understand the importance of taking AP tests, and as many as possible. In hindsight, it seems obvious, but at the time, I just wasn't thinking ahead at all. Taking the same courses again in college was terribly boring, a waste of time and money, and just demoralizing. Perhaps the NCSSM courses could have been partly geared towards the goal of taking AP tests. Now, that was from one of my classmates in the class of 1984, and I fully agree with him. And I've noticed that today NCSSM has learned from this kind of feedback and offers many AP courses, which brings me to lay out what your main goals ought to be. To make the most of the AP courses and opportunities at NCSSM, you should walk into NCSSM already having a fairly firm idea about your careers of choice, and then finding NCSU majors that most likely lead to those careers. Why NCSU? Because NCSU is currently the only university in North Carolina that has an articulation agreement with NCSSM to make its science and math courses count towards NCSU credits. You'll want to unpack the black box of a college curriculum using the Great College Education Workbook, an Excel file you can download via a link on the information section of this YouTube video, so you can determine which courses will contribute to your college future. Then, using that as a baseline, earn as much useful college credit at NCSSM as you possibly can using a combination of AA, AP, DE, and NCVPS courses. And look at NCSU first for the best deals, not just for in-state tuition, but also because of the articulation agreement. Because I graduated as a mechanical engineer from NCSU, I'm going to use that as an example. You can massage this and adapt it to fit your own selected career goals. See my YouTube video from 10th grader to professional engineer in 10 years or less for much more on the engineering discipline if that is your goal. This example does not include cooperative education semesters for simplicity, but I do encourage you to investigate cooperative education because numerous majors, not just engineering, offer that learning opportunity. And you can use that to gain valuable work experience and make money while you're still in college. So I'm going to start by assuming that instead of leaving 10th grade at your old high school to go to NCSSM, you take the GED and go straight into NCSU. That's going to be the baseline standard to show you how you can save $24,000 on college and 2 years. So this is going to evaluate the cost of NCSSM versus NCSU for those first 2 years, which will include summers at a community college. Then we're going to build an equivalent curriculum at NCSSM and evaluate the cost savings, and an equivalent curriculum at a community college and evaluate the cost savings. So here it is, part of the Great College Education Workbook. Again, this particular page assumes you've left 10th grade and are going straight to, in this case, CCCC for summer school courses, and then to NCSU for main fall and spring courses. I want you to notice a few things here. The abbreviations here, SHC abbreviates semester hours credit. SCF abbreviates semesterly cash flow. YCF abbreviates yearly cash flow. It's important to notice here that the cost of tuition at a community college is about half what it is at a university. And more importantly, you can take the community college courses at home, whereas more than likely you'll have to live on campus to take your university classes. And that's where the real rub of the cost blow-up comes in, because living on campus instead of with mom and dad is very expensive. Here I've shown about $4,000 per semester, which accounts for campus housing and meal plans and other miscellaneous expenses. You'll need to go through here and massage these numbers because they change constantly based on inflation and other factors. But you can see here you're spending over $26,000 for the first 2 years of education at NCSU, even if you go to summer classes at CCCC. So let's take a look at how you can use NCSSM to overcome some of these major costs. Here are the same 2 years laid out at NCSSM. I've left the summers alone because, as you'll see here momentarily, you may need those summer classes as dual enrollment classes because you're still qualified for them as a high school student, just to get prepared to take full advantage of the opportunities at NCSSM. Now, I've had to bastardize this particular page a little bit because the semester hours credit are actually trimester points, and I've shown fall and winter, winter and spring, to break it into the equivalent of 2 semesters instead of 3 trimesters to keep this a simple analysis. But if you want to take the equivalent of NCSU courses at NCSSM, you may need to do things like take pre-calculus during the summer before 11th grade just so you can get into calculus BC at NCSSM. You may also need to take a preliminary chemistry course at a community college just so you can take AP chemistry your first year at NCSSM. You get the idea. So what you see going on here is the differences are you're not having to pay for any tuition costs. You are having to pay for AP costs, although you can probably get a waiver for those if you can demonstrate a financial need for them. You also will want to get AP review guides, about which I'll talk later, so those will cost you a small amount of money out of pocket. So compared to the previous page, you're saving about $24,000 on NCSU costs that you would normally incur if you went straight there, but only if you actually take all the AP tests listed here and do well on them. But before you get too excited about those savings, I do want you to notice that you have the opportunity to go to CCCC instead and pay much, much less because you're living at home with mom and dad, not having to pay those expensive on-campus living costs, and your tuition costs are half as much. So, what's the bottom line? This page is common to all the options. It's the last 2 years at NCSU. So you're going to run up considerable costs there, but if you look at the bottom line down here in the bottom right corner, you'll see that the total, if you go NCSSM to NCSU, runs about $34,000. That results in a savings versus going all 4 years at NCSU of $24,000 and something dollars, and a savings against going to CCCC and then NCSU of about $4,400. So these are the kinds of numbers that I hope will light a fire under you if you are money motivated to take the right curriculum load at NCSSM to slash $24,000 in 2 years off your college education, whether you go to NCSU or even somewhere else because of all the AP credit. So as I've said, the evaluations of NCSSM cost savings against both NCSU and CCCC show radical differences in actual tangible benefit of NCSSM. And as I alluded earlier, reasons for attending NCSSM prove more emotional than intellectual. Nevertheless, if you choose to go, you should still take full financial advantage of NCSSM opportunities. So let's talk about how to optimize those opportunities. For a little bit of extra investment up front, you can get a whole lot of leverage through technology. For example, if you get a laptop with software and the TI Inspire CAS calculator and software, you can experience a great deal of leverage and power you could not normally experience by trying to do problems by hand. You can learn more at ti-inspire.com. Likewise, the TI-89 Titanium, which as far as I know is widely used in the math department at NCSSM. Again, I would encourage you to get your own. This runs about $120, and it's got a lot of powers to it. You can learn more at education.ti.com. But to get the most power from those AP courses, I really encourage you to get the AP review manuals up front before the start of the course, and you can get them affordably at Amazon. They are comprehensive treatments of the subjects, fantastic guides to do well in the AP exams, help to solidify classroom learning. The best ones include CD-ROMs so you can practice on the computer, and they are literally worth their weight in gold. In addition, there is open courseware at MIT at ocw.mit.edu, and you can get online material there to supplement your courses. In addition, a lot of community colleges now teach courses online, so I'd recommend doing a Google search to find the NCCCS website and find their online syllabi supplements. Here in Florida, where I live, Brevard Community College, brevardcc.edu, has a very transparent list of online classes, and they have syllabi which you can search through and find links to online teaching tools, such as pearsonhighered.com/elearning and ichapters.com, which are very comprehensive array of tools to help you in your formal classes or if you need to teach yourself some subject. And as far as I know, anyone can sit for an AP test regardless of having taken an AP course, so consider that option if NCSSM falls short on some AP class that you want to take but can't take because they don't offer it. Residential life. Outside interests. Whatever you do, always heed Stephen Covey's warning. The main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. As one NCSSM graduate described it, too many NCSSM students squander time playing video games and Dungeons and Dragons while dragging asses. So, let's talk about that. In my own case, mini-term, which is formerly Special Projects Week, and other interests add no college credit value. You have to take them to graduate NCSSM, but you can't use them for college credit, although you could possibly put them on your resume as an experience that's noteworthy. In my own case, the invasion of NCSSM, which was an exciting 1984 Special Projects Week video project, had enormous emotional payoffs for me. Watch it on YouTube. But it robbed me of time and effort toward academics. My advisor warned me about this, and being a teenager who knew everything, I paid him no heed. The project ended up taking much more time and effort than initially expected, finishing and premiering literally days before graduation. And I paid a price for that. It led to a final grade of C in Calculus BC, which was my only final C at NCSSM, and a score of 2 on both Physics C AP examinations, which meant I had to repeat those classes at NCSU. I should note that even though I got a C in Calculus BC, I still scored a 3 on the Calculus AP tests, and I want to make sure that you know this because that should encourage you to take the AP test even if you expect to get a B in a course with transfer credit to NCSU, because you want to cover your backside in the event of bombing the final. Residential life, let's talk about roles to keep the main thing main. Stephen Covey recommends breaking your life down into 8 major roles. Such roles or categories can help you sort the vital few from the trivial many. Although Covey only suggests possible categories, an examination of the human condition across all times and cultures suggests 8 major roles common to all people. And you can debate this in your social science classes if you want. Identifying such major roles can help you to stay focused as you struggle through NCSSM. The main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. So to prioritize those roles, let me talk about a little poem from a person of experience. Friends and lovers may come and go. Parents and children may steal the show. Beneficiaries may fail to grow. But to the core of your soul you certainly know that what matters most is producing cash flow. Who said that? I said that. Don't worry, I'm not quitting my day job at NASA to become a poet. The 8 major roles, in my opinion, fall across this moral compass, with the true north being reality, or what Stephen Covey calls natural law. And those 8 roles are: your role as an individual, which Stephen Covey calls sharpen the saw, you taking care of yourself. Your role as a producer, meaning that you must eventually produce material values to take care of yourself, and produce excess material value so you have something to invest for the future as part of your planning and taking care of your loved ones. The other roles, everyone's born to parents, so everyone is an offspring. If you have friends, then you are a friend. And with everyone else, if you have a benevolent sense of life, they are your acquaintances. They benefit from your acquaintance, so that makes you a benefactor. If you are involved romantically with another person, that makes you into the role of lover. And let me take a minute to talk about this, because this is the one role I have seen so many people get themselves wrapped around the axle when they play. High drama states, especially at NCSSM. So all I can say is be extremely careful, because I've seen too many people get themselves wrapped emotionally in these love affairs, and they get sidetracked from academics, distraught emotionally, and it just becomes a mess. And more people at NCSSM than you might suspect engage in those activities that put them at risk of becoming a parent. I'm not saying I know anyone that became a parent while at NCSSM, but certainly they put themselves at risk of that before the time of parenthood ought to come. Be careful. How does Covey recommend using these roles for weekly time management? Connect to mission, your main thing. Review your roles, identify your goals, organize weekly, exercise integrity in the moment of choice, and evaluate. To make this a little more concrete, let me give you some examples. Microsoft Outlook is a very popular time management tool. There are others out there, such as Yahoo Calendar and Plaxo Calendar, so pick one of choice, but I'm going to use Outlook in this example because I use it in my own life. You can use the 8 roles along with the colored labeled categories in Outlook to organize everything: your appointments, your notes, your tasks, and your contacts, and your emails, according to the 8 roles. For financial management, if you use Quicken, which I strongly encourage you to use to manage your finances, you can also use the 8 roles as categories in Quicken, and it becomes very telling very quickly where your material values lie as you categorize your expenditures and incomes according to these 8 roles. Which brings me to show you a sample week of an NCSSM Junior. This I laid out in Microsoft Outlook as an example, color-coded according to the previous page. And you can see here that a good chunk of your day is chewed up every single day with basic self-maintenance, sleeping, bathing, eating, and also with your class time and your work service time and your housekeeping time. There is not a lot of time left over to do the work outside of class that you need to do just to keep up with all the work. So you need to prepare yourself for a very grueling, rigorous academic and residential life schedule. So this sample does show typical time consumed with classes, sleep, and so forth. It does not show, for simplicity, the variations of the class meeting times. To get a feel for that, you need to go to the NCSSM website, download the actual time period schedule to witness its hodgepodge nature. Holistic life, making the most of a hassle. NCSSM requires holistic activities which consume time and energy while delivering no academic credit. They require 60 hours of community service before your senior year, at least an hour per week of housekeeping. I say it's more. An hour per week during your junior year of junior life, and 3 hours per week each year of work service on the campus. If you're not careful, these efforts can disappear down a hole, hole-istic, never to appear again. So I recommend drafting a resume now so you can start thinking about how to massage these activities in self-serving ways, such as selecting work service in alignment with your career goals and so forth. My particular pet peeve is community service. Community service amounts to a variation of communism, which I call communisty service, because it demands self-sacrifice to some collective without a commensurate exchange of value one way or the other. It's basically minimum wage work, so it has a financial equivalent of $435, which is hardly a dent in the state's educational costs. Other holistic work you do is similarly encumbered. The Eagle Scout Award, which I got because I was in Boy Scouts, requires a service project, though without specified number of hours, and I'm throwing that out as a counterexample. North Carolina Agricultural and Technical, or NCA&T, State University requires 60 hours of communisty service for graduation. Why am I mentioning all this? Because the idea is to take communisty service and figure out how to double or triple the mileage from it. As an Eagle Scout candidate, if I had been smart, I would have arranged my life across the NCSSM years so as to get twice the mileage from that service project, getting both my community service requirement and my Eagle Scout Award requirement done concurrently with no additional effort. So you want to try to kill 2 or 3 or more birds with one stone by making one service project satisfy the demands of institutions beyond NCSSM. To achieve that worthy goal, you might have to actually get early admission to a college like North Carolina A&T, so that service project will count towards the college graduation requirement. And I also recommend delaying communisty service until after grade 11 in case you decide to leave NCSSM after grade 11. And I've known people who left NCSSM after grade 11 for various reasons. And finally, holistic life, preparing for the worst. You want to learn lessons from those who left NCSSM voluntarily or otherwise. Some people were smart enough to be able to leave NCSSM and go to a private college that did not demand a high school diploma. Some went to Duke, others I think may have gone to MIT, but they left after 11th grade. They did not have to graduate with a high school diploma to go to their colleges of choice. So they didn't. Others were simply not invited back for misbehavior during 11th grade or for performance during 11th grade. And still others had to leave in the middle of the year for whatever reason. So you want to make sure you get your ducks in a row so that you don't get caught unprepared to leave NCSSM in an untimely fashion. I would go so far as to get you to talk your parents into getting the prepaid legal services, which you can find by Googling on the web, to be able to call a lawyer on a moment's notice to get legal advice about your rights at NCSSM, because otherwise the administration will take advantage of your ignorance. So absolutely, I encourage you to prepare for the worst. And when worst comes to worst, prepare for the GED in case you actually need to take it. Don't laugh. It could serve you much better than you think it does. Search Amazon now for the best GED preparation books, which include CD-ROMs, to prepare for the worst, and be prepared to take the GED in case you need to leave NCSSM and don't want to go back to your old high school and can't go to college yet because of a lack of a diploma. All of this brings me to the future of NCSSM and the $100 million question. Current educational trend in North Carolina has shifted away from bricks and mortar and toward technology, online learning. For example, the state recently saved $450 million on a new UNC campus by expanding its UNC Online program, according to a story last year in the Charlotte Observer. So with these trends in place, why does NCSSM still seek to spend $100 million of taxpayer money to expand its bricks and mortar campus to serve a mere 300 additional students per year? I have no idea. Ask the Chancellor. In my opinion, taxpayers should feel outrage at this costly backwards step. Why do I call it a backward step? 30 years ago, NCSSM was considered the campus of the future, a bricks and mortar campus for residential learning. Today, it is, in fact, the campus of the past. Why? The future of NCSSM, with NCSSM Online, in conjunction with UNC Online, is bringing the campus to students. And so what is the campus of the future? You guessed it. Coming full circle back to the farm where I grew up, of which you see a picture here. Because even redneck farmers in the foothills of North Carolina are getting into the high-speed broadband Internet Act, including high-powered laptops. I can hardly stand the irony. Here are my recommendations. Treat entry into NCSSM exactly as you would treat entry into college. Learn and embrace the 8 Habits philosophy. Commit to becoming an autodidact and a strategist. Select college education disciplines you desire with NCSU as your top choice. Create a Microsoft Excel tabbed worksheet for each curriculum. And complete the NCSSM AA and AP courses, the NCCCS DE summer courses, and the NCVPS summer courses that help you to earn maximum useful college credit during your last 2 years of high school. And consider understanding and defending your legal rights with Prepaid Legal Services Incorporated. Keep the main thing the main thing. Make the best use of hole-istic efforts, especially community service, delaying the latter until after grade 11. Strategically time courses, college applications, and GED preparations to create effective emergency exit strategies that serve you if needed. Complete remaining core classes at summer community college after graduating NCSSM so as to enter university in the fall as a junior. And enter the university of your choice, preferably NCSU. In conclusion, what I have discussed all through this presentation implicitly is the iron triangle of project management. The quality of a project is dictated by its cost, its schedule, and its scope. And I have discussed this iron triangle implicitly throughout this presentation. Earning a college degree optimally demands knowing exactly the requirements for achieving that goal before you start your first day of class at NCSSM. Such knowledge can save literally years of wasted effort and tens of thousands of dollars in squandered money at college. Building an academic career from 10th grade forward with a meaningful job as the end goal reveals a highly efficient path to follow. This presentation shows, step by step, where to find that key information and how to implement it as quickly and affordably as possible. That concludes this presentation. Feel free to comment or post questions on the YouTube comments section of this video, and I will do my best to answer in a meaningful and timely fashion. Thank you for your time, and good luck to you.